Well, hi everyone, and welcome to this edition of Nature's Best. Hey, today I want to take a quick look at an update that was made across the board to your camera raw found inside of Lightroom. It'll be Lightroom 14.4. The camera raw version now is 17.4. You'll also find this in Photoshop version 26.8. Just check your Creative Cloud version. It should be there by the time you're seeing this. And I will actually be in New Zealand by the time you're watching this, where Gary Hart and I will be beginning our 10-day run on our annual Winter Down Under in New Zealand. Really looking forward to that. So let's get over here to the computer very quickly and jump in, and I'm going to show you what's new and exciting. Okay, so the first thing is I want to come in under the Detail tab, and this has to do with denoise and raw details, and super resolution. In the past, when we would click on this, it would create a separate duplicate file, a DNG, so to speak, and the changes, be it in denoise or details or resolution, would be applied to that DNG file. Then you would have to work with that file throughout the rest of the workflow. But the good news is now that it's non-destructive. You're working right on the actual raw file as a set of instructions. We never alter a raw file, obviously. And so if you want to go back in and change things, you can do it and not have to start over. Another thing before we get going, I want to point your attention up here to the tool palette. And over here on the far right side is a little circular icon, and that is an AI status updater. So as you add AI edits to your photo here in Camera Raw, you can go back in and check on that at any time and see what you've done. Okay, let's take a look at really two of the biggest things I think that have come into play here. And we're going to go in under the looks like a little eraser tool here, and we're going to click on it. And this is where we get into our AI removal tools and our clone stamp and healing brush, what have you. Now, if you look, you're going to see this distraction removal. And you're going to open it up, and it's going to say reflections and people. So I'm going to start with a couple of photos that we're going to look at for removing people. Then we're going to take a look at some that are removing reflections. So let's take a look. First of all, this is the Piazza del Campo in Siena, Italy, where I was back in February of this year. And you can see there's not a lot to it. You just click on it. And then you can click the remove tool. You can see what a great job it's done in finding all of these people. And I'm just going to click here. And it's going to take a different amount of time. We're going to talk about this in just a moment, how the workflow should go. Now, the only thing that Adobe recommends is you do this prior to doing any other AI enhancements. And there you go. You can really see what a job it's done. If you think it's taken out anything that you didn't want to have taken out, you would just simply click on this to reactivate it. And you could hit over here where it says reset. I could reset all of these by clicking reset here. But I'm going to click on the eyeball. There's the before. And there's the after. It's left a little bit of shadows here. That was because this was kind of a rainy night this past winter, and I'm thinking it probably has to do a little bit with the reflections. But overall, it's done a fantastic job. So let's take another look at another image here. I was using this for practice, so you could already see that it's discovered where these people are up here on this pier under the overlay here. So let's click remove and see what it does here. Not a bad job. It's gotten really everybody out of there, other than there's two people standing on a rock over here and this guy who's looks like he's taking a selfie or whatever he's doing out there. So how do I take care of him? Well, I'm just going to come in under the generative AI and I am going to just paint right over him. And we can come down here before we hit remove and paint over these two people. And let's click the remove. And again, this is all going to be kind of determined on the speed of your machine and your Wi-Fi. And that's actually pretty darn good. It went in there and actually removed everybody out of there. So let's take a look before with everybody in there, and now after with everybody out of there. Okay, let's take a look now that we've seen how to remove people out of reflections. And so this one, I really don't have a lot of reflection shots. So I ran down along the harbor here in Morro Bay this morning. It's a real cool walkway called the Embarcadero, where they have a lot of little shops, and came across this great white, as you can see. So let's just click the apply button here, let it do its thing, and we will see what it does. And obviously that's really pretty cool. And it goes up to 100. It starts out, you can take it the other way, and I can actually remove the shark right out of the shot. So it didn't catch this part of it, but it cleaned up basically what we were looking at. Before we move on and take a look at the next one, I also want to point out that you have three choices here: preview, standard, and best. Preview is going to give you the fastest. My opinion would be, if it was an image that's something that's going to be very important, I may look at printing it or obviously putting it on my website, I would want the best. And from my test, it usually about triples the time. So if it's taking, 8 to 10 seconds in preview mode, you're going to be looking at about 30 seconds in when you go to the best mode. Excuse me, I clicked off of that too soon. Okay, let's move on. Now this one's a lot more complicated, but let's see what it can do. I wasn't too sure that this one was actually going to do a good job, but I was very surprised. That is, to me, just amazing what it can do there. And if I was to take everything out of the window, look what's behind me, a U-Haul truck. So I just thought that was really kind of cool. And what I wanted to do, I started to think this through, like, okay, well, Don, you're a landscape guy, so how could we apply this to landscape? So I ran down to the marina and I found a boat with a little bit of reflection, and I thought, would it look at this as a reflection and take it out? Well, let's take a look together and see what it does. And it's kind of analyzing things. Again, we're in that preview mode, and you can see it just doesn't do a thing at all. Let me hit the eyeball here. So I actually tried about 3 or 4 of these reflections created by boats. So really, I'm thinking in Adobe vernacular that the reflections is really kind of like something that I showed you with the first 2 images, where the reflections are in the window. Let's take a look at one more, because what was obviously missing was wires removal. And if I come over here and we go back into here, you can see they're going to give us reflections, they're going to give us people, but I'm sort of thinking, and I'm going to open this up into Photoshop to tell you how to work around this, is that possibly the wire removal isn't quite up to snuff, and maybe that will be added in when we get the full number update later in the year. Let me add a non-pixel layer down here below in my layers palette, and we're going to come up here, and I'm going to make sure this is set to find distractions, and we're going to use auto generate AI, and make sure, this is really important, sample all layers. And so when I click on this, you can see it. There was where the people, they still have it here in Photoshop, but here's wires and cables. And let's take a look at what it can do with this scene. And you can see it's missed over in here. Let me turn off the background layer and you'll see what it caught. and it's caught over in here some of the actual pole itself. So maybe it's just Adobe's way of saying we haven't quite gotten this dialed in to where we want. I want to take a look up in that tree if it nipped anything. Not really. It didn't really take anything away, but you can see it didn't get this wire, so I could come back in and add that. And I would have to kind of go through and sort of, I'm not going to do it all, but I'd have to come through here and touch this all up. So as I said, maybe when we get the full number update, Adobe will have confidence that that is ready for prime time and include it. So there you go. Not a lot that's going to pertain to us as landscape shooters, but you never know. Like, you saw the first two where I did have people in the group, and that piazza, I went out 3 nights in a row trying to catch that without people, and I just couldn't do it. In the time we were in Siena for 3 nights, it just was people in the piazza every time. So with this generative AI tool, I can now remove it. Same thing with the people on the pier. With the galleon ship, it gives me a way to get those out of there. It is AI, and I know there's feelings both ways on AI, but we're getting options, and certainly the technology, there's nothing that's going to stop it. So it's got to be ultimately up to you on how you want to use it. So anyway, this was just a quick video. Kind of snuck this one in before I left for the airport, and hope you guys enjoyed this. Come back next week. We're going to pick up on the topic of infrared, and we're going to take a look at getting some filters for your smartphones and making them infrared recordable. That's going to be next Saturday. That will be released, and we'll continue on from there. So hope this has helped you. Get out and stay creative. It's great for the soul. We'll see you next week.